How would it feel if you enrolled 29 new clients in the next 6 weeks? I did it, and in this video, I will explain in detail exactly how I filled my brand new coaching practice in just 6 weeks through networking. But it probably isn't networking like you're thinking. Hey coach, I'm Ronnie Noyes, and I've been a marketing coach for over 20 years. Of all the marketing strategies I've ever used, networking has got to be one of the easiest and fastest ways for coaches like me and maybe you to get a full book of clients starting from zero. And in case you're thinking network is not for you because you're an introvert, you might want to rethink that, because I'm an introvert, a shy person, and a stutterer, but I did this, and if I did it, chances are you can too. Let's talk about what you'll learn in this video. What is networking really, and why is it actually faster and less work than traditional lead generation? Exactly what I did to get 29 clients in 42 days. The mistakes I made in the process, the surprising lessons I learned, and finally, the exact tools I used to make it happen. And I will give you those tools for free. Sound good? Let me walk you through it. Spoiler alert, you are going to want to take notes starting right now. We'll start with a brief definition of networking because that's where most people go wrong. And I'll start by telling you what it's not. Networking is not selling. It's not papering the town with your business cards or forcing a sales pitch on everybody you meet. And may I add, it's also not recruiting, a job interview, or an opportunity to deliver a monologue about yourself. Too many people are confused about what networking is, and it hurts their credibility, their sales, and their reputations. But you aren't going to make those mistakes because you're about to find out exactly what networking really is. Just like networking computers to each other and the internet, networking is connecting to serve, share, and support. It's about helping or serving others, supporting each other in our quest to reach and serve our markets and build our businesses ethically, responsibly, generously. In other words, networking is about relationships and connecting, not about transactions. The connections you make while networking are not marks, but your partners in success. We're talking mutual referrals, introductions, advice, support, co-promotions maybe, joint ventures possibly, and yes, even sales sometimes. The list goes on. But what you really need to know is this. The value of networking is becoming known, liked, and trusted by people who will send referrals your way. Now, why are referrals so important? Referrals are 5 times more likely to convert into sales than leads generated through other marketing methods, so faster and easier sales for you. Clients referred by others typically have a 16% higher lifetime value, creating more profit for you. And referred clients are 4 times more likely to refer other people to you, creating a self-sustaining cycle of growth for your business, so less time, effort, and money to get new clients for you. So that's why getting referrals was at the top of my list when I started my coaching business. If you're ready, let me share the true story of how I found 29 clients in only 42 days through networking, and how you can do it too. Well, it all started on a Monday morning, literally the first day of my new coaching business. And I was sitting at my desk in my home office with no clients, no appointments, and nothing to do. Now, I had planned to do some networking to become known, liked, and trusted in the local market because, according to my research, networking is the best way to get new clients fast. New clients who, as a matter of fact, will pay, stay, and refer, helping me build my business and explode my profitability. But this was Monday morning, and there were no networking meetings to attend at the moment. On my desk, however, was a pile of old business cards from folks I'd met at various networking events in the past year, but I didn't really know what to do with them. While I knew that the connections that the cards represented could be important, I wondered what could or should I do with a pile of other people's business cards. I couldn't face the idea of cold calls to sell my services because, as an introvert, the thought of making cold calls made my blood run cold. So I counted the cards, waiting for inspiration. I counted 63 cards, and inspiration came in the form of a quote that I remembered. You can have everything in life that you want if you just give enough other people what they want. That's from motivational speaker Zig Ziglar, who I'd recently seen speak. And that quote made me ask myself, what did I have to offer these 63 people whose business cards ended up on my desk? How could I help others so that they might help me? I mean, not by swapping services. I didn't want to work for free. I wanted paying clients who needed my services, not tradesies with people who didn't need or want or value what I had to offer in exchange for things I didn't need or want and probably wouldn't even pay for. What I wanted from these people, from any and all of my connections, was referrals. Referrals of people who were ready, willing, and able to pay now, to use my services right now, and who would benefit from my coaching right now. And if that's what I wanted, maybe others wanted that too. My idea was to offer referrals because I planned to network actively and would meet a lot of folks, and because I also realized that my future clients would need more than just my services, and that as a marketing coach, I should have some solid suggestions for where they could get help, right? I would need some folks I could refer my clients to. So I thought, what if I met with these people one-on-one? We'd have time to get to know each other, maybe even help each other out with referrals. A give to get kind of thing, like Zig suggested. I made a plan. First, connect with other professionals, starting with the folks from this stack of cards, and then from the networking meetings I'd planned to attend. Second, set up one-on-one meetings with my new connections to teach each other how to recognize and refer qualified prospects to each other. Third, watch the referrals roll in. Good plan, right? So with that in mind, as much as I dreaded doing it, I decided to make 63 phone calls. Now, as an introvert, I knew I needed something to give me courage, and I didn't want to freeze or blurt out something stupid or stutter, so I decided to write a script for the calls. Actually, 2 scripts. One for if they answered the phone, and one if I got voicemail. The most important 2 questions I asked in that script were, first, are you accepting new clients? And second, would you be willing to accept referrals from me? Using my script, I called 63 people, which worked surprisingly well because I explained who I was and what I wanted, which was to their benefit as well. My goal for this part of the process was simply to set up one-on-one meetings, and it was a total success. Now, for those of you who don't want to make calls, I get it. I didn't want to make calls either, but people tend to ignore email and sometimes even texts or DMs, and sometimes the communication loops break down. Technology actually gets in the way when trying to find a day, a time, and a location for meetings, even when you send links to a scheduling app or Doodle or When is Good. You lose people. But having a quick conversation is quick and easy. So, yes, I did calls with my calendar in front of me and a list of places that I knew were good for meetings, like coffee shops. Important note, I did not invite people out for coffee. I invited them to meet to discuss mutual referrals and suggested a convenient place, which very often just so happened to be a coffee shop. Let me tell you a little about those meetings. Before the meetings, I was terrified. Did I mention that I'm an introvert? So to dial down the anxiety I was feeling, I thought about how I could get the information I needed to know from the other people so I could send them only good referrals, which made me consider what information I needed to share so that I would receive good referrals too. Long story short, I ended up creating a referral sheet that I used to guide the conversation as sort of an agenda in the meeting, and am I glad I did? Because without an agenda at meetings, as you know, things can go long or things don't get done sometimes. So at the meetings, I always arrived early so I could get my own coffee and find a table, because I didn't want the confusion of hospitality mixed in with these meetings. Now, you might not think so, but even buying someone a coffee can make them feel obligated and pressured, which isn't the point of these meetings. We are there for mutual benefit. So as I mentioned before, I never invited people to meet for coffee. I invited them to meet to discuss mutual referrals, and it was just convenient to meet at a coffee shop. Does that reasoning make sense? Good. So I'm there early with my cup of coffee and my name tag high on my right shoulder so that people can ID me if they don't remember my face. My meetings were scheduled on the hour for 30 minutes, and that gave me time to wait if they were late and time to run long if we had to do so without delaying my next meeting. Because I stacked up as many as 4 meetings a day sometimes. 30 minutes might seem like too little time, and it does go by fast, but using my referral sheet as an agenda kept us focused and on track. If you do this process, I strongly encourage you to use my referral sheets because you don't want to forget or confuse details later. I mean, you're going to have to take notes. It usually took about 20 minutes for me to go through the sheet and ask them questions and write their answers. Bonus, listening and taking handwritten notes makes a great impression on almost everyone. Recording the meeting or typing notes on your phone or laptop, not so much. And this conversation builds the relationship, builds trust. So don't make the mistake of asking for the info in advance or just accepting a brochure instead of asking questions. You need to get a feel for this person and what they offer their clients beyond whatever it is that says on their business card or in their brochure. Now, when it came time for them to ask about me, I handed them a blank note sheet because I brought extras prepared and very quickly supplied the answers so they didn't have to struggle with the process. And that went pretty fast. Again, I let them take notes, which helps them remember the details and feel bought into the process. And my results? Well, people sure were impressed at the meetings. They loved the questions, the attention they got as I listened and took notes, and the idea of mutual referrals. Pretty much all of these meetings ended really well. Okay, well, there was this one guy who was suspicious of my intentions and couldn't believe that I was on the level. But that's on me. I made the mistake, yes. I made the mistake of switching the agenda to sales. Totally my bad. You see, he told me he was so impressed by me that he insisted we talk about working together, and he signed up for my coaching package on the spot. But as he left, he wadded up the sheet he took notes on about me, red flag right there, and tossed it into the garbage can. So much for referrals from this guy, I thought. But worse, as luck would have it, a colleague of his was coming in to meet with me next, and my brand new client said to him, "Oh, are you here to meet with Ronnie too? Hold on to your wallet because she's really good at sales." The tough lesson learned here: separate networking and sales meetings because you don't want to get a reputation for baiting and switching. If they want to talk about working together, very often they will. Schedule a meeting to discuss details later, but don't make the same mistake I did. A brutal lesson to learn. But back to my results. After my first 2 weeks, I had 24 meetings and I got 0 clients. Hadn't yet met with the guy I just told you about. That was much later. 24 meetings and I got 0 clients and I was freaking out. So the one question that kept going through my head was, what was I doing wrong? Being a problem solver, I reviewed my process. Did I connect with others? Yes. Did I set up one-on-one meetings? Yes. Did we teach each other how to recognize and refer? Yes. But then what? There was obviously something missing in the process. So at 2 weeks, I was totally freaking out. And even though I had a lot of confidence in referral marketing, I knew I had to do something different. Now let me step back a moment to shortcut what else I discovered after much trial and error, the absolute best way to refer, which I still think is the best way. It is an introduction by email, or if you prefer, text. Why not just hand over a business card or suggest they speak to so-and-so? Well, because people usually don't follow through, not because they're bad, but because they're busy. And their brain fools them into thinking the problem is solved because they have a referral now, a suggestion of who might be able to help them. So they usually don't feel any urgency to get in touch. And without an actual introduction, there's no social expectation or even a reminder. So they forget and then nothing happens. This is why I love introductions by email or text. And yes, you can call them referrals, but what you're really doing is introducing an information seeker to an expert without putting pressure on either person to buy or sell. You know me a bit by now, so it will come as no surprise to you that I created an email template for referrals, and I call it Seeker Meet Expert. Here's how it works. Send a Seeker Meet Expert email or text to both people. Introduce the person you're referring as a seeker of information, as having questions on the topic. Introduce your referral partner as a professional or expert on the topic. Include contact information for both and leave follow-up in their capable hands. This way, they're both well served and have a record of the referral even if they don't follow through right now or connect immediately. And you've done your job. You've made an ideally helpful introduction, and you're not guaranteeing an outcome, simply connecting a seeker to an expert. I can tell you from years of experience doing this that people love this, and it works really well. So, back to my freak out when nothing was happening after 2 weeks of too much coffee and relentless meetings. I realized that what was missing was reciprocity. You know that thing where people feel obligated to return a favor or do a good deed when someone helps them? And sending someone a hot referral who's ready to buy is helping them. And the law of reciprocity says that if you send someone referrals, they're going to work hard to send some back to you. It's that old one good turn deserves another thing, and it is powerful. reciprocity. Suddenly, everything fell into place. I knew where to meet, I had the meeting agenda, and I knew how to complete the process with referrals using my Seeker Meet Expert message. And I realized that to trigger this reciprocity thing, I had to start referring immediately. From that moment, everything changed for me. Let's cut to the chase and check the math. First 2 weeks, 24 meetings, no referrals. Next 4 weeks, I had 46 plus meetings. So over 42 days total, I had over 70 one-on-one meetings. That's a lot of coffee. I started to understand the appeal of decaf. I gave over 75 referrals in those last 4 weeks. Not all were successful, but I did my part, and it really helped to have a template for referrals that made it easy. I received 48 referrals. Again, not all were right for me, but I was thrilled that if I couldn't help them, I now had other folks to refer them to, and I did. But the big news was that in 6 weeks, I got 29 new coaching clients. I was thrilled. Wouldn't you have been? What do you need to apply this strategy to building your business? Let's recap the tools I used. My meeting setup script, my referral sheet for notes, and my Seeker Meet Expert email introduction for referrals. I also had a couple of other things like thank you notes and follow-up scripts, but that's just gravy. These were my 3 essential tools for this process. And the final process, number 1, connect with others. If you don't have anybody to connect with right now, get out there and go to networking meetings. I highly recommend leads groups for the biggest bang for your networking buck, especially if you're an introvert and a coach like me. Number 2, set up one-on-one meetings with the people you meet networking to get to know them on an individual basis. And number 3, teach each other how to recognize and refer great prospects. Then, number 4, share referrals by email or text. This is not complicated, and it works really well for coaches, all kinds of coaches. My lessons learned? Besides everything you've already heard, there are 4 important lessons to share with you. Lesson 1, I learned the best people to get to know and work with in this process are people who my future clients will need either before, during, or after working with me. As a marketing coach, that meant other folks in marketing adjacent services. Website development, graphic artists, advertising, promotional products, printers, copywriters, as well as small business services like bookkeeping, tax prep, technology, legal advice, and so on. And surprisingly, some of my best referrals went to and came from other coaches. True story. Lesson 2, I learned to immediately type up my notes in a relationship management tool with contact info and keywords so I could quickly and easily identify referral possibilities when someone asked me for a referral. But speaking of referrals, lesson 3, I learned not to wait for people to ask me for referrals. I just listened and got very proactive about referring. For example, once I heard someone mention that they were having a problem with QuickBooks at a meeting. I let them know that I knew somebody who was an expert and asked if they wanted to be connected. Not only did their QuickBooks problem get solved, that person who was having the problem thought I was amazing for hearing and helping, and the QuickBooks expert was deeply grateful. Everybody's happy and we all win. And finally, lesson 4, I learned that I don't have to have had purchased or used someone's products or services myself to give them referrals. Because as we discussed in the email referral template segment, my way is to simply introduce a seeker of information to a person of expertise on the subject. We are not responsible for the outcome of the connection, just for the intention of the connection, to serve, share, and support. Whether it results in a sale is not our responsibility or concern. Before we wrap it up, let me say that I think I know why you're here today. I understand that you, coach, are more than in business, you're on a mission. I understand because I'm on a mission too, to help coaches like you shortcut the often painful learning curve of being a successful coach in business. Today we talked about how to solve the needing clients problem by building your business through networking. I know it works because I literally did it myself. If you use the ideas I shared today, you'll be able to reach out to those who need your help, who are actually looking for help like yours, through your colleagues and referral partners that you meet through networking. So instead of relying on your personal circle of family and friends to grow your business, you can magnetize the larger market of people who are already ready to pay, stay, and refer new business to you. You can do this. Yes, this networking process takes time and effort to set up and work through, a lot, but it is nothing you can't do, and I've got some tools that will help. So let's talk next steps. What are the first steps to apply this strategy to building your coaching business with networking? Well, download my free tools, schedule some time on your calendar for networking, and simply walk through the process step by step. It's not complicated. Now, my free tools again, my meeting setup script to help you make those calls with confidence. It's honed and perfected so that it works 99% of the time. My referral sheet for notes to keep your meetings on point and gather the information you'll need to do your part to make the right referrals. And my Seeker Meet Expert email introduction template for referrals, the exact words to use for your introductions by email, or that you can edit down for texting. Get started with the link in the description below. What do you think, Coach? Are you ready to accept a flood of new clients by referral? Let me know in the comments. And if this discussion was helpful, please give it a like and remember to subscribe for more practical tips to elevate your coaching practice. Thanks for watching. I'm Ronnie Noyes, reminding you that today is a great day for coaching.